Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. So, friends, hearty welcome to you all. A very good morning, bonjour, hola, bon dia, and guten tag. Well, as you know, that our retreat programs got cancelled due to the COVID infection to Swami Mahayogananda ji. So our greetings from him also, from all of us to you all. And Swamiji is recovering as usual. It will take some time, but he is doing fine. And so I am just filling up the gap. So it is a stop-gap arrangement. Some of you are already here, so we thought we can just do something for you all, and also for those who enrolled for this retreat and have been asked to cancel their coming over here, and also those who would be happy to link with us. Actually, this session from 10:30 to 11:30, like that, in the morning of Saturday of any retreat, we try to live stream for the benefit of all our members on our mailing list. So it is part of that, and together with that, today afternoon also we will have this live streaming from 4 o'clock, that is time in Germany, 4 o'clock. So it is not inconvenient for people in the east and also in still west from Berlin. So as promised, I would be speaking on Praarabdha. That is something you are very much familiar with, that the maybe a kind of synonym of that word. The Praarabdha is a Sanskrit word, so it has a modern synonym, that is also Sanskrit. It does not exactly mean the same. This is the problem with translation or problem with misunderstanding. In outside the Indian context and languages and Sanskrit, in many parts of the world, this Praarabdha is known as karma. So I have to dive deep into this concept. And this is a really very vast subject, but I will try to summarize it as much as possible and as much as it is helpful for us to understand this. One good thing is that I will be speaking in English only, so I have more time to speak, that is whole 1 hour. Now let us look at this idea. Praarabdha means a thing which has already started acting on us, or which has begun. So it is a past tense, means which has begun, the unfolding of something. So it is talking about our human life on earth. So if we look at our life, we will see that it is a life which is actually bound by or limited by two sides, and two sides are given two different names. One side of my life, suppose, is called birth, and the other side is death. So now the question is this all about me? If I ask this question, and that is a question which has been asked by us, our forefathers or our ancestors, thousands and thousands of years hence. So it is not something very new that we are trying to delve into, but something very important. Because if our life is just this much, the birth and death, beyond which we ourselves can't see anything. So we have to depend on some authorities who have the experience of the other sides. Now the question is, was there a birth before this birth? Or was there a death before this birth? And will there be a birth after this death? Logically speaking, the concept of Praarabdha actually is based on the concept of rebirth. Therefore, it is a concept of rebirth and re-death. So now think of this idea that we are born, it is a birth. We will die, it is a death. So will there be a rebirth after death? This is a question. And then if there is a rebirth, there will be a re-death. Now, after my death, there will be my rebirth. So whether this rebirth is the same like death, whether this death can be called a rebirth, or is there a gap in between? That there is my death and there is some space in between and there is rebirth. So death and rebirth, is there something like that? That is a question. Now, logically speaking again, we don't know that this birth is the birth only. It might be a rebirth. This life began with a rebirth, not just birth, not just now. I am not just starting with my life. Why do we ask this question? Because when we look at my own siblings, we are born of the same parents, same genetic things happened. But each one of us, our siblings, is different in many, many ways. Genetics cannot be the deciding factor, cannot be our destiny. So we have differences in features, we have differences in temperaments, we have differences in our forms and sizes, we have differences in intelligences, and so many thousands of differences, even though we are the result of the same genetic combinations. So what happened that these genetic combinations, they cannot define our fate or what happens after our death? So the question is, was there something that decided on what will be our fate after our birth? How we will be after our birth? So therefore the idea is that this birth itself is a rebirth. Otherwise this birth is not possible. At least we have to accept that depending on the logic that I have given. Now the question that between this rebirth and re-death of mine, whatever I do will be called an action or karma. The karma, when we define this word karma, it can mean many things. Number one, what we do, that can be called a karma. Number two, our good luck or our fate, that can be called a karma. And number three, the impressions of all whatever we do on our mind, those can be called karma. But what is very obvious that whatever we do in this life, that is called karma. Now the question is whether this life is the only life that we have. And as I said, the interpretation of the word Praarabdha is solely dependent on the concept of rebirth, on the concept of the law of karma. So therefore, I am not subscribing to the idea that this life is the only life. There was nothing before that, there will be nothing after this. This is very illogical. If there was nothing as a cause of my death, before my birth, then why do I search for a cause of an effect in this life itself? And why do I search for an effect when I do something? Why should I do something that will produce a result? Because it is completely weird that I had no cause, but I am born. And I will not survive after my death. But within this concept of this birth and death, I depend very much solely on the law of cause and effect. There is no fool. Even a fool has his or her own logic of cause and effect. Even a fool. So therefore, we cannot avoid these questions. If we just say no, whatever we say, you just believe it, you have faith, then these questions, the logic, they don't work. That is why I have to take recourse to this idea of the law of karma or rebirth. So, this life is the result of a rebirth, and this life will end with a re-death. And then there will be a rebirth, and in between whether there will be something. Between my re-death and rebirth, will there be something? This is the question. Now if you look at the idea of Catholic Christianity, you will see there is a concept of purgatory. Purgatory means purification or cleansing. Small sins that you have done and sins that are pardonable, but you are in love and friendship with God. So after you die, you go to some place. We don't know where. Between re-death and rebirth, there is a place. There is something. After death, there is something. But after that, there is nothing. So there is something that kind of maze, abyss, where you go, you don't know what happens. But they say that from there these sins will be pardoned, expiated. You can work out on their sins, and those who are still living in the world, your relatives, they can do something, some finances, some rights, some donations, charities, etc. they can do, so that you get the benefit or merits of those acts. And after death, you can't do anything, but you get liberation or you go to heaven. That's the idea. Now, in the concept of rebirth and law of karma, there too say there is something between the re-death and rebirth. But everything is actually a subject to this birth itself, where we are still there. If I want to go to heaven, I have to do something here. If I want to go to hell, if there is any hell, then I have to do something very bad here itself. There is no scope after this, after re-death. So, let us look at, to put this Praarabdha into proper perspective, we have to go into details about the actions, the works that we do. We may be doing some works because we have to live in this world, we have to earn our own bread, we have to support our family, we have to pay for our friends, etc., etc. There are so many such things, good works which we should do and works which we should do to maintain ourselves. So these are called actions, karmas. There are other things, I can do something bad. There are other things, I can do something which is prohibited. There are things I can do, I can go to jail also for that. All these things are coming under the concept of karma, work. Work that we do. Whatever we do, it will be called an action or work. And Sri Krishna says that you cannot, no one can stay even a single moment without doing work. Because every moment we are thinking. Even if we are in sleep, we are dreaming. So some action is going on, some activity or some experiences going on. Therefore, Sri Krishna says that incessantly you are engaged in work. But the problem is that, as Sri Krishna says, we are not much worried about what we are doing, but we should be worried about what would be the result of our actions. And if we look at that, if I do something here, will that produce something after my death? If I do something good, where that merit will go? If I earn money, I put in the bank. But if I die, who will carry that money into the other world so that I can use it there? So if I do something, will that go into the other world? Or intermediary world, as I said, that in between re-death and rebirth, is there a world like that? So Sri Krishna says we should be worried about that, because if you do something and you do not get the result or punishment for that in this world, then what will happen if you die and everything is gone with that? Then there is no justice. That is not actually wise. So Sri Krishna says, Gahana karmano gati. Gahana karmano gati means not the actions which are very confusing and multifarious, but the results of actions, the gati, the results of actions. They are many. So according to the experiences of the great teachers of humanity, thousands and thousands of years ago, they studied the whole set of karma. It is not that they have introduced some karma, it is not that they have given some commandment to do something, it is that they have statistically analyzed all actions into different groups. There are a few groups, I will be discussing on that. So different groups. Why? Because if you do such types of works, you get some result, both here and hereafter. In the intermediary phase, you get some result. Or it may lead to the other birth. Death will lead to rebirth. So thing is that, so the result is actually important here. So whatever you are doing, and you should be available to get the result. It should be available. And that is what is our right, human rights and our individual right. I want to be responsible for what I do, because what I do, it should give me the benefit I will put in my bank or in any kind of deposits. That should be my right. So I am very much aware of my self-effort. I don't believe in somebody else's help. I can help myself. Let me do that and see what happens. So I want to be responsible for what I do. I should not create a devil to give all my bad things unto the devil and forget to give all good things to God, take it for myself. So the thing is that there are some kinds of works in a group, the scriptures have said, that will lead to this kind of result. Some other kinds that will lead to some other kinds of result. There would be some still other kinds like that. They will produce different results. So Gahana means many varieties, multiple types of results the karmas will produce. But each group will produce each type of result. Suppose I don't care for all these things. I do my work in this world and I don't question about what happens after. What will happen to me? Nothing will happen. The scriptures say no. Whatever we have studied, that will lead to the rebirth, automatic. There is no question. Jayasva mriyasva. Jayasva mriyasva. You are born, you will die, you will be reborn, you will face the re-death. So there is no question about that, because that is the law. And if you don't ask anything beyond this law, you are subjected to law. You are a creature of the law. But if you want to be the creator of this law, the master of this law, then you have to ask questions. How can I control this repeated and circular motion of rebirth, redeath, rebirth, redeath? So if you don't ask any question, live a life like everyone, 99% of the people, they live like that. So therefore you are reborn. You are bound to be reborn, because otherwise who will suffer your bad actions, results of your bad actions, and also the results of your good actions? Who will enjoy? So therefore just follow the rule and law. This is called Swabhavika Karma, because this is the natural work. You don't ask any question, just go on doing whatever others are doing. Another, that I want to transcend these things. So when I die, after that, in between, is there something that I carry something to that place? And suppose I have been driving from here to Frankfurt, and in between, do you have some Ausfahrt, exits, that I can go out and drink some coffee, tea, and take some rest, refuel? Is there any possibility like that? Is there any places? These places are called as stopovers. These places are called the lokas. Like Pitri-loka is a higher place. There you get some enjoyments. So if you do works which are recommended by the scripture in another group, they have seen that these works will lead to some kind of better result after redeath, but before rebirth. So in between you are caught. Okay, we have something there. Some exits are there available. You get coffee also. So therefore you go there. So you follow these instructions, and then in the right time you will be there. And then you go out and wait for some more time. So there, this will lead to a loka, a place where you can give some rest and also some enjoyments. But you follow these types of works which are recommended by the scriptures. So they say karmana pitri-loka. If you do these actions which are recommended by the scriptures, then you go to a loka called pitri-loka, where your forefathers have gone and their ancestors have gone, and they may not be there, but that is the place where they go. Or the third group is called Vidyaya Deva Loka. Or if you aspire for a kind of higher place, better place to enjoy, no suffering. Swarge loke na bhayam kinchana asti, this Upanishad says, Kathopanishad. If you go to Swarga, heaven, then you enjoy. Everything is enjoyment. If you go to heaven from Saudi Arabia or Arabic countries, you will see that in the heaven the rivers are flowing with all sweet water. Drinkable Bisleri water is available there. So then you lie down near that river and drink from there, because all enjoyments. There water is the scarcity. So you go to heaven to drink water. You don't need to go to heaven. Come to Germany, we give you many bottles of water, good water. Why do you go to heaven? Heaven is a place which we think will fulfill our desires, which we cannot fulfill in this world. So therefore we are aspiring for something which will give us much benefit there, better life, all enjoyments, no suffering. But the problem is you don't go with this body. No, then they created this idea that no, you can go with the body. Together with this body you can go to heaven, because otherwise with the subtle body you cannot enjoy these gross things. So now sweet water you cannot drink. Your subtle body cannot drink. The place of the manas, our ancestors, the loka, the place of enjoyment in between redeath and rebirth, that place, there you cannot drink and eat. You only smell and then get happy. Because you have a subtle body there. So therefore smelling still is possible. And the heaven, seeing only is possible. You cannot drink water. That is how the Upanishads say, that you can just see and be happy. That is all. That also we can do in this world. We can go to the shops and do window shopping, be happy. Don't buy, but go and see and be happy. So these things are there. If you do some karma here, that is called the path of bhakti or upasana. The actions we do with the help of our mind. We meditate, the path of meditation. That will lead us to that higher enjoyment, place of higher enjoyment. That is still a place, there still time works. So what will happen? You enjoy enough and come back to this life, to this worldly life, are reborn. You enjoy in the place of your ancestors, you are come back and again you are reborn and face re-death. Not that you will go, means another birth, means re-death and rebirth. In between this place, you are reborn, re-die. You are reborn, again you re-die. All these things within that concept, and we don't know, only the scripture said this is how those who have seen the other side of this death, our re-death, they are recommending these things, they are saying these things. Well, we accept them, those paths or those results as they are. We don't know exactly how they are, how the taste is there, but we know the taste, how it is here. So number one, that you are continuously going round and round in this circle. Re-death, rebirth, re-death, rebirth, rebirth, re-death, like that. Number two, go to a bit higher place where you can take an exit and go at some time and come back. And number three, you go to still higher state and there you enjoy and then you come back. There is no suffering. Then there is a combination of both these, that in these two places of enjoyments, after re-death or after death, two places of enjoyment. And these two places of enjoyment can be arrived by this number two and number three types of works. Can we combine these two? Yes, you can combine. Ishopanishad advises to do that. If you combine that, then what will happen? You may have much better mental peace, not only enjoyment, peace. And then again you come back. It is not because you are combining karmas, works. So works will produce temporary result, not permanent result. Perishable result, works will produce. And then suppose I don't want that peace itself, and I am free from that idea of enjoyment by combining these two. I have left everything on God. That is the idea of Nishkama Karma. That I don't want anything like that and I give it to God. Now the problem is the word Nishkama Karma is very misleading. We think that we work in the bank and whatever be the emolument or the payment at the end of the month, and that should come to my bank account. And now you are saying that it will go to God's bank account. Now, big problem. Where shall I find God's? Bundesbank may take it away. So what to do? No, it is not like that. Nishkama Karma does not mean that you have no right on the result. You have every right on the result, but you do not have right. You can relinquish the right on whatever is excess. Excess than what you need. That you can decide on. So I give it unto God, or God and godly work, godly things, everything I can do, whatever can be done. So with the result of our actions, we can do that. But need should be fulfilled. No scripture is saying that you have no right to fulfill your needs. That is the first necessity of human existence. So you should fulfill your needs. But you have to find a great differentiation between what is need and what is greed. Need and greed have to be understood. Whatever is more than excessive than your need is called your greed. Now the greatest example, there was someone who owned 9.5 billion euros but due to speculation on the currencies in the world. And then a great entrepreneur in Germany. And then suddenly in one speculation he lost 0.5 billion euros. Still he had 9 billion euros, but he thought that it is not worth it. Not enough to enjoy this life. Not enough to give to the children. Therefore, he felt so disheartened. Whole life he gained this way. And this money he accumulated from these speculations. And now, because he lost 0.5 billion, he still had 9 billion euros. I don't know what it is. How many zeros you can write after 1? 9. And he committed suicide because he did not have enough. Did not have enough. So what is need and what is greed? That is a very difficult situation. So therefore, if you have that type of desire, that I don't need much more than I require to maintain my body and my things, and that's fine. Then that person can have a query about his or her own meaning. Is there any meaning of me being born, reborn, redying? Is there any meaning? Is there any meaning that I am somebody? This question comes. So the question is, when I die, is there anything in between, or I should go to the other side? Like you see that a caterpillar is walking, crawling caterpillar, go into a cocoon and comes out as a butterfly. This we have all seen in front of our own eyes. And this cocoon stage and time we don't see in our own life. A caterpillar can be reborn as a nice flying butterfly, a crawling caterpillar. In this world itself it is happening. So therefore, I can be reborn not as I can be reborn as somebody else. I can be allowed to fly. I can be allowed to jump. All these things can be given to me if I be a caterpillar. Then I will be able to fly. So earlier conditions are there. Not that everything goes into cocoon and will come out as a butterfly. It is not possible. So therefore this concept that you go into the death of this body and then there is something in between and then you go to rebirth. So in between is not given much importance in the scriptures. That is not very interesting, because that will bring you back to this same circular motion. Now the question comes, what is the other meaning of the word karma? Is it just what we do or what we gain? It is neither. It is all that we do will be held up by us or saved by us on the hard disk, like in our mind, which is called memory. And there it will be stored up as samskaras, impressions. So that will be stored up in our mind. And mind belongs to the subtle body, and it is the subtle body which goes into transmigration. From this re-death goes into rebirth. This is the subtle body. So there is no question of the physical body going into the intermediary state or heaven or the place of the ancestors, but it is the subtle body which goes into that. Again it can go into the next birth. So the impressions of our karma, whatever we do mentally, physically, will leave a mark on our grey matter, on the brain. That is why when we practice something regularly, that creates a kind of memory, and then we will just have this memory pain, memory this, that things will happen from memory. So therefore you learn things and commit to memory, and afterwards you don't have to go through the process of learning. You can execute the actions. So that is called the impression. The subtle impression of whatever we do, whatever we think, everything will be stored up in our subtle body memory. So chitta, it is called chitta. Chitta means the place where we just store up our memory. Now the karma, the impressions could be good impressions or could be bad impressions. If the impressions are good, they are called good karmas. If the impressions are bad, they are called bad karmas. But they are samskaras. They are called samskaras because they leave a kara, means a kind of channel that we call the chemical lines in our brain that leave a mark. Kara means whatever is done on this. So etched out like that. So these samskaras are etched out on our subtle body. And how much it can contain, as you can see, the pen drives can contain how much GB, etc. Nowadays you can see how much memory it can contain. It is like that. We don't need to have the whole house to carry our food. We can carry in our mind so much food and enjoy it while sleeping. In our dream we can eat nice things in the restaurant also and enjoy it. So these samskaras are called karmas now, because they come under law and law of karma. The law is not only law for the gross actions, but law for the subtle samskaras. Now there are two strands of our samskaras. One is called good strand and the bad. Like in electricity you have got two strands, red and green. One is called the phase, another is called neutral. And this earthing is there. So you go like that, they intertwine with each other. Now, of these two, one is, suppose the green is called good, the red is called bad because it is giving you warning signal. So these two samskaras are created in this life, and all these works, whatever you do without questioning. You do for a little bit gain, do for more gain, or you do to get out of this loop. Whatever you do, all actions will create either good or bad. And what is a good action? Not action, samskara. It is not the samskara that will take me to heaven. It is a samskara that will help me to get out of this continuous loop. That is what is called good samskara. But that samskara has to be created by us, not by anybody else. So these two samskaras are there, good samskaras and bad samskaras. Now if these good samskaras are making us subject to rebirth, then they are also bad samskaras. Good means I have done some good to go to heaven. But then what? It will bind me to this world again. So there is no escape from this loop. But the samskaras, which are good samskaras, which will help me to get out of the loop, they are actually real good samskaras. Now, talking about the samskara which come under the law of karma. These are two. Law of karma means subjected to the laws of the karma or actions, the effect of actions, gati. So, good is green, bad is red. Now, Praarabdha is what? Praarabdha is what has already started working. It has not finished. It has started working, started unfolding. What is that? It is neither before birth, before rebirth, neither after redeath. It is here, now. Praarabdha means what? We are here now, present tense. Praarabdha, at what time did it start giving result? At your birth. At what time that? Now, when you are born. At what time I am now here? Now, when you are here. So the whole, this life, what we can see as this life bound by rebirth and redeath, that is what is called present. That is very much known to us. We don't have to take a subtle body to know it. So if we are thinking of the past, which was there before my birth, then we are dead. And if we are thinking of the future, we are not born yet. So we are thinking of illogical things. But what we are now, that is very important. Therefore, of these samskaras, there are three types. Some samskaras are stored up, sanchita. Some are kriyamana, means which have started working, that is called prarabdha. And some samskaras can be acquired, they are called agami. They may come. They have not yet been acquired. So some which we have already in store, they are called sanchita karma. And what is prarabdha karma? That which has started bearing fruits or giving results or started working, that I am living this way. Now see, I did so many varieties of karma. 1 type, 2 type, 3 type, 4 types I discussed. 4 types of karmas I have done, suppose, or any one of those types. Now I have acquired these 2 strands that would take me to the other life, next life. I may be born as a butterfly. Now I have to work out my karma, whether it is bad or good. It is not the accounting system, modern accounting system, that holds good here. That if you have so much of debts, but so much of assets, then we balance how much balance you have. So how much worth is your company? Not only how much assets you have, but how much debts do you have? Plus, minus, finally what comes, whether plus or minus, that is the value of your company, of your endeavor. So now, see, that is the modern style of accounting, and most of our logic within this redeath and rebirth is based on our modern accounting system. Just look at that. Very funny. But here, talking about this, the 2 strands of karma, it does not follow the modern accounting system. It is not that. That is why it is not ordinary. It is transcendental. It transcends the scope of your physical and these worldly things, worldly logic. It acts on its own logic. And that is equitable. Not that I killed 2 people, do not punish me because I saved 2 people. That is fine. For this you have to go to jail, and for this you will be awarded. Both you have to take. This is how it is here. So therefore, which of these 2 strands will start working in my next rebirth, next life? That is a big problem for us. Because if this red strand starts, means the bad samskaras, start giving results, start my next life, I am bound by that. Because it has started, I have no control over it. It has started. I am bound by that. I am scared. I should get a scope to undo whatever I have done. That is my human rights, personal rights, spiritual right. That is self-effort. I will do it. I will not depend on anybody just expiating my sins. I cannot outsource this to somebody else. I have to do it myself. Therefore, it is a very serious question which one of these 2 strands will start getting activated in my next life. If the bad one is activated, that I am gone. I have lost a big scope. So what I can do? I have to see that the good strand is activated in the last life, next life. That could be a last life, of course. So next life, what could start giving result? That has to be decided in this life itself. whatever we have now in this present life. So we have to work for that. And then only, if I practice this in this life, it will create a habit and it will create a channel and it will automatically get activated in the next life. You don't have to think. Sri Krishna solves this question in the Gita. He says, whenever you are dying at the point of your death, with whatever thought you die, whether good thought or bad thought, that thought will be activated. That string will be activated in the next life. That will be the Praarabdha in the next life. That will decide on where you will be born, in what form you will be born, how you will be born, and what facilities, benefits and prospects you will have in that life. This life itself will decide. And your last thought will decide. Why last thought? All through my life I have thought so many thoughts. Then why this last thought? Because this last thought will not appear until and unless you have practiced it long time. Sada tad bhava bhavitam, Sri Krishna says. This strand will be activated in the next life because you have practiced that. With practiced ease, you will start the next life. Don't have to worry about that. Don't have to worry. Just go on practicing that, which will help you to get the next life activated, to get that activated in the next life. This is the scripture telling us. That's how it can be explained why you are born in a good family. Suchinang Srimatangehe Yoga Bhrasto Vijayate. Sri Krishna says that you will be born in the family of pious people. Mathur Babu, Girish Chandra Ghosh, he was a drunkard bohemian, but a holy man also afterwards. But initially he was like that. And he claimed to Sri Ramakrishna, you should be born as my son. Sri Ramakrishna said, I don't have any good work to do, I have to be born as your son. Why? My father was such a pious man, and that is why he was born there. Suchinang Srimatangehe Yoga Bhrasto Vijayat. In this life you could not complete your work, you will begin with the same work in the next life. It is guaranteed. It is guaranteed. Sri Krishna says that I say, verily, verily say I say unto you that those who do good work in this life never suffer in the next life. We'll start with the good work. So it is like that. So that will be called Praarabdha, means it has already started giving its result or started working. So where did the Praarabdha actually begin? At the end of this life. This life is an accumulation, a working of the Praarabdha, and this life will also give birth to the next life if we have the right to work on this. Now, there are three laws. One is called free will, another is called fatalism, and the third one is law of karma. Free will, we think that we have all freedom to want or will the way we want. We will be coming to that in the case of Praarabdha also. The way I want to live this life, the way I want to walk on the street, the way I want to drive the car, that will be my free will. Why should you dictate terms on those things? So, another say fatalism. Whatever you may do, you have to go to hell. Or whatever you may do, you have to be there in the restaurant on such and such date at such and such time, because it is fated. You cannot escape your fate. That is called fatalism. And free will says that you will be completely free? No. Free will says, how free is the free will? That is the question they ask. The birds are free to fly because they are not free from wings. We cannot fly. We are not free to fly, though we have got absolute freedom. Then why are you not able to are you not free to fly? Because we do not have wings. So birds are free to fly because they are not free from wings. So that is not freedom, and absolute freedom. Karma, law of karma is like that. You are not free from your past accumulated samskaras, which are called karmas, good and bad both. But you are free to change your state of affairs, change your destiny, how you will be reborn. That is Praarabdha Karma. And this Praarabdha can, karma means, as mistranslation says, karma means bad, but something bad fate happening on someone. This was his karma. He is now suffering his karma, as if he is not enjoying the karma. Enjoyment we forget because we forget God. But suffering we don't forget because we have a devil to give our suffering onto the devil. Blame the devil for that. We can forget God, but nobody will forget the devil because there is something we can just, the garbage bin is there. We can throw away many things, but we put in that garbage bin called devil. So this Praarabdha has got 3 types of Praarabdha. When you are reborn, you have to go through these 3 types. There are many funny things about it, but one thing is that there are 3 types of Praarabdha. One is called Svecha Praarabdha. Now, if you do anything, you get that result. So, because you have done, so you have the right to have the result. I go on drinking, and I will not be a drunkard. So what is this? This is not the rule. The law of karma is that you go on drinking, you get the habit into drinking, you get attraction, attachment, and finally the addiction for drinking, and you become an alcoholic. So, no, I will be drinking and I will not become an alcoholic. These things are very difficult. So, whatever you do, the result, okay, my liver will be destroyed. That is also result of your work. You did it. Therefore, it is Svecha Praarabdha. There is one joke, but that is at a very nice place here to discuss that, to tell that joke. Nobody knows that joke, so I will be telling this first time. The joke is that 3 brothers used to go to a pub to drink. Every day evening they would come there and order for 3 bottles of wine, and 3 of them would drink. One day the pub owner saw that only one brother came and ordered for 3 bottles. Then he came and asked, what happened to your 2 brothers? No, they have moved out of this town. They have got a new job somewhere. So today so why are you ordering 3 bottles? He said, yeah, 1 bottle is for me. And 2, on their behalf I drink. Because I miss them. So on their behalf I am drinking. So after some days again, the pub owner saw that he reduced 1 bottle. He started drinking. He ordered for 2 bottles. Then he felt sad. Maybe 1 brother is no more. Then he came with a heavy heart. He started to show his compassion or fellow feeling. He said, what happened to your other brother? Oh, you ordered 2 bottles and 1. What happened to your brother? Nothing happened to him. They both are quite fine. That is why I ordered 2 bottles. But from today I have decided to quit drinking. I have decided to quit drinking. So 2 bottles, fine. Because your habit will bring about the result because of your own habit. So, Svecha Praarabdha, what you do, you get result of that. It is your. Second is Anicca Praarabdha. Something happens, and see, Praarabdha means, karma means, it does not mean that it is always bad. Now, of billions of people buying lottery ticket, but you got the lottery. You wanted, but you never expected that it will happen to you. But it has happened. Or someone got a big lottery and thought, okay, what should I do with so much money? I give it to this fellow, that fellow. And suddenly you got in your bank account so much money. What happened? No, friend, I gave it to you. You need money. So like that, Anicca, many good things can happen and many bad things also can happen. So, Another example of anicca is that two people fighting, they are trying to hurt each other, but you were nearby and then they threw their fist or the stick and then it hit you. So you did not want, but you got the hit. This can happen. So anicca prarabdha, you suffer or you enjoy because it is not your wish, but still it happened. And parecha prarabdha. Parecha prarabdha means you did not wish it, but somebody else wished, and therefore, as somebody got the lottery and gave the share to you, so therefore you enjoy that, you experience that karma. So there are so many examples like that in the scriptures. So what can be called anicca prarabdha, parecha prarabdha. So behind this prarabdha, there is one thing which is working, that me. I am the maker of my own destiny. So prarabdha is my destiny. What will happen to me afterwards, that will be decided by me, not my actions, by me. And then so avidya kama karma, Shankaracharya says, because of our ignorance, thinking that this fleeting world, this transitory world is permanent, because of that we suffer. Because of that we suffer. So that is ajnana. Because of that we become subject to the laws of the nature. So we think things to happen this way, but things will happen in different way because natural laws are also there. They have to work. Otherwise, if I wish it to happen this way, that will happen. No, that is not possible. Nature has its own laws. It cannot just break that law for you. So this prarabdha, the creator of our prarabdha, is nothing but we are nothing but we. So therefore, the scriptures, they are not creating any prarabdha or any kind of action, but they are telling us what will happen if you do this thing, what will happen if you don't do these things. Therefore, in the karma part also, you will be seeing that scriptures not only say, do this type, this type, this type, but don't do this type. There are also don'ts are there, prohibited. Because that may not punish you in this life, may not take you to jail because of your cheating people. You could be leading a very wonderful life. That might not have given you enough punishment in this life. But don't think that it will leave you forever. It will be there for you waiting on the other side. Come, I am here. So therefore, be prepared. It is what you do, what is your desire, how you want to enjoy this world or use this world for your liberation from this loop of transmigratory circle. If you want to get out of this, then you have to go with these recommendations and advices. Therefore, prarabdha, it is almost all about prarabdha, but there are some very tricky questions about prarabdha. Two of them I will take many. We can ask many questions against this prarabdha. Now, but that is why I put the blame squarely on us, because we want to undo our whatever things we have done. Is there something, so we see that things are happening in this world, we have no answer to that. As I said, what happens to my siblings, what happens to create divisions or differentiation between my siblings. Similarly, is there something happening that when so many people dying together in an earthquake or in a flood or in a tsunami, is there any kind of prarabdha? You are talking prarabdha about individual, but so many people dying, is there any kind of prarabdha? Yes, this we have to understand prarabdha properly here. Then we understand that, okay, your prarabdha, my prarabdha can coincide also in time. May not be in quantity or quality, but in time it may coincide. Now see, if so many people can be there on the seashore on that particular day and on that particular time when tsunami struck, if they have the right to be there, they too have the right to die together. If you have the right to be there together, you have the right to die together. This is the law. And this is law of nature. You cannot escape this. Nature will not discriminate between who you are and why you are there. It will just come and whoever is there. So therefore, if we have the right, and also look at those who were there but did not go to the beach at that particular moment, were there but chose not to go there during that time, or someone fell sick, could not go out into near the sea, then they are saved. What about that? All these things, if you know how to understand Praarabdha, you will answer yourself. And suppose there are funny ideas also. Suppose this world goes into destruction, and whether the Noah's boat will come to save us or not. This other day someone in USA predicted that on such and such day there will be the end of the world on that day, and those who are following God's way, they will be saved and Noah's boat will come. How big that boat would be, God knows. Of 7 billion people who would be there, God knows. Anyway, so that these predictions are there. So suppose this complete destruction happens, then is it by our Praarabdha that we are all dying, or is it God's will? Can we blame God or devil, anyone somewhere else? Then God says, if you accept me as a God, then you accept me as the creator, the maintainer and the destroyer. Destroyer means I will coil it back into myself. So if you think that it happens this way, then it may also happen in a different way. There would be some leaders who will just throw a bomb to destroy this whole earth. It will be unhinged from its regular trajectory, and a little bit this way, that way it goes, then we are no more there. The world is completely finished. Then, so it is up to you whether you will elect such leaders or not. Up to you. But if you say it is within God's will, then let my will be done. This is the way. That is my problem, not your problem, because you too are my creature. You too are all are my creatures. I am the creator. I created from myself. I can take everything back into myself. Who are you? So therefore, Praarabdha Karma is so logical. It can answer thousands of such illogical questions. Most of our questions are based on this idea that this life is the only life, and we cannot ask any further question about who am I. That is why Vedanta is there to help us to ask the question, who am I, and answer it. So I will stop here. Thank you very much. Thank you those who are joining us online. It was nice to recollect some of the nice ideas from our scriptures. Very technical though, but very helpful for us to understand many things in our life and lead a good life according to that. Because we know that the responsibility squarely lies on us. So thank you very much. Those who would be attending the next session in the afternoon, I have not given up my interest in this retreat, our interest in this retreat, that we have the guest Swamiji here. If he is a bit feeling a bit more energetic and can just sacrifice some time to speak, give a brief idea about the topic he was going to do. So I requested him that I might relinquish my right to speak on the topic in the afternoon, and he is welcome to do that. But everything depends on his health. But otherwise, I will be talking on mantra and mantra diksha, initiation of mantra. So this is also very interesting topic, very practical topic in that. And it can be nicely placed on Praarabdha Karma, because Holy Mother has said, Sri Ramakrishna also has said, scriptures have said that God's name can remove our own Praarabdha Karma. Thank you very much. Namaskar. See you once again in the afternoon. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om.